Hi, Charlie. My name is Lenny, and it's very nice to meet you. I'm a conservative through and through, and something I struggle with a lot is some of my family members are Democrats, and I like to debate with them a lot, but they always get me with the tariff conversation. So I was wondering if you could kind of elaborate on the benefits of the tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's way too soon for anyone to win that debate. Let's just start with China. We do not make our own vitamin C in this country anymore. We don't make the ingredients to be able to make our own antibiotics or our own drones. What President Trump is doing is, number one, the people voted for tariffs to bring jobs back to this country. Number two, he's using this as a negotiating tactic to be able to bring countries to the table so that they will buy more of our goods and services. How does this impact Wyoming? You guys have a lot of LNG in this state, right? Got a lot of liquefied natural gas. You should be able to sell Wyoming LNG to Japan and to Europe without any tariff, and they should buy Wyoming LNG, not Iranian oil or gas. That's what the tariffs are actually going to allow us to do. They're a negotiation tool to be able to bring people to the table. I think we're going to get phenomenal deals out of this. Look, America has 2 oceans to our sides and a continent of resources. Very, very rare. And we have 2 friendly neighbors. Well, yeah, we have 2 friendly neighbors. And we've allowed ourselves to become dependent on countries that aren't like us. The tariffs are a message and a signal that we want to be a self-sufficient country and that we will not be a vassal state to the Chinese Communist Party. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you.
Hey, Charlie. My name's Isaac. I'm 20 years old.
That means laughter.
It does, and I do like to laugh a lot.
Good.
So a couple years ago, on the way home from high school, when I was in high school, I was listening to your show, and I heard you advocate for the trades and not going to college. So I wanted to thank you for that input, because I gladly skipped college, and I've been an electrician for 2 years now, and I love it. So thank you.
Great for you, man.
My question's a faith-related one, actually. So I'm sure you know that most tradesmen are either alcoholics or divorced or felons or sometimes all 3, but it's okay, we love them. What would your advice be to young tradesmen who love Jesus more than anything and want to exemplify him in every word and action, but have a really hard time consistently operating that way in an environment where mentioning Jesus is like committing a war crime?
Man, first of all, God bless you and thank you for. I love the hardworking men of Wyoming. It gives me so much hope. It's just amazing. Number one, you have to make your faith center in everything that you do, in all that you do. In the same advice I gave previously, to the podcast you listen to, while you're doing your work, make it sermons, make it teachings, make it speeches that glorify God in all that you do. If you know that most tradesmen have problems drinking, maybe you're just going to say, I'm going to not drink in my life. I don't drink, and it's a great way to live, everybody. Tucker Carlson doesn't drink. Donald Trump doesn't drink. You got a lot of energy when you don't drink. And
I'm 7 months sober, by the way.
Praise God, man. That's amazing. Good for you. And let me ask you, do you see a positive benefit from that?
In every aspect of every second of every day.
Praise the Lord. And my advice for people in this audience is that if you're struggling with alcohol, tomorrow can be a new day where it can be your day one. Jesus Christ is with you through every single one of those steps and those struggles. And even if you say, well, I don't have an alcohol problem, that's fine. That's not actually the contention. The contention is it good for you in what you want to do? So here's what I say to young men, and Jordan Peterson's been saying this for a while, which is, what are you aiming at? What is your goal? What is your destination? And so by not drinking, what you've done is you've just taken one of those variables completely off the table. And let me tell you, if you're an alcoholic, you're more likely to get divorced. So you now have decreased the likelihood of getting divorced. I don't know if you're married or if you're looking for.
My whole heart belongs to Jesus right now.
Amazing. So. There's a lot of women here that I think would love to meet you. So, and read the word every single day and come up with clear rules for your life of things that you will not do, things you will not watch, ways that you will not engage. And finally, never be satisfied with the skill set you have. Learn a different language. Learn more about a specific topic that you enjoy. Start another business. And finally, you're in a unique place because when people call an electrician, they're looking for help. You have a chance to minister. So when you walk in to be an electrician, You don't have to be like Billy Graham, and so proclaim it. You don't have to be that. But you could say, hey, how are you doing? You having a good week?
Right.
People will talk to you. It's amazing how they'll talk to people they welcome into their home, especially if you have a good way about you and you're organized and you're put together and you don't have alcohol on your breath. They'll talk to you and they'll say, oh, it's just terrible. My kid is this and that. Be like, can I pray for you? And by the way, this is Wyoming, right? This is not San Francisco. So a lot of people will say yes.
Right.
And then you can all of a sudden use your electrician job as a way to witness to other people. And you would be shocked at how God is going to use you to be able to spread the gospel in places where people would never, ever come into gospel before. And it doesn't mean you have to all of a sudden rename your electrical company to, Jesus heals your electrical problems, right? At the same time, you need to be a witness in every way, because you're going to find people that are suffering. You're going to see kind of, discord and, disillusionment. And you are now a missionary and you didn't even realize it. You get to go into more homes than I get to. I broadcast to a lot of homes, but you're going to be intimate. And even if you walk into a business, you get to meet, in your career, how old are you?
20 years old.
You're 20 years old. So you're going to be an electrician probably for the next 40 years, 50 years. You're probably going to walk into 10,000 to 15,000 homes. Right. That is a mission field, the likes of which that now at 20, you can be like, you know what my aim is? My aim is to bring 250 people to Jesus over the next decade. Or my why is to do that. So now all of a sudden you're using a trade that can then feed your family eventually and make you money to go glorify God on an ultimate purpose. And that's my advice for all of us, is to infuse your daily work for God's glory and to do it in ways that we can never imagine. And so, man, God bless you. And I just want to say that, I love people that go in the contrarian way. I'm sure there was a lot of pressure to go to college, but you're going to earn a great living, be an electrician. There's a shortage of electricians in this country, as you well know. All across, because we look down upon these trades in this country and we said we should elevate them. So I'm counting on you to be the missionary electrician from Laramie, Wyoming. God bless you, man. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Final point. Wyoming, I didn't talk about Wyoming politics. You guys need to stay involved in local politics and your state politics. This state should be the most conservative state in the country politically. It is in presidential politics. It needs to start acting that way in who you elect and how you keep the pressure on. I'm thrilled that you guys retired Liz Cheney. Keep that up, everybody. We love that. God bless you, and God bless Wyoming. Thank you guys so much.
So here's my question. I fundamentally disagree with you in regards to having a family and getting married in this day and age. And I'll tell you why. 70% of the divorce rates happen because of women. Okay, that's a fact. Before we get angry, let's talk about the facts. So you can Google this too. And on top of that, 85% of the men, or I should say people in jail, grow up in fatherless homes. So there's a direct correlation between those two things. So my thinking is that we don't need to necessarily have more families unless we have a complete change to the system. Now, what do you think about that? We need to change the system in order for us to have a nice conversation about, having a family, because the state incentivizes single motherhood in this country. And you're looking at me with that face, but tell me why.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. What is your contention, that we shouldn't get married and have kids?
We shouldn't currently because of this particular issue right now.
What issue?
The issue is...
Build that out further for me. So
okay, let me explain.
Outside of the fact that, the anti-woman thing that you said.
Well, it's not necessarily anti-woman, it's a fact. You can Google this too. And look at the divorce rates in this country. I'm just saying that if we're going to have more families, we need some protections in place for men. Because right now, the legal system actively destroys the man in court. All right, is that false or is that true?
Yeah, of course it's true that the state encourages divorce, but
yeah.
How about you find a woman that you want to spend the rest of your life?
I was married for 10 years.
Okay.
I was married for 10 years.
And then you should take responsibility for your own actions. Why is that my problem?
No, the thing is that you're saying you're asking me if I should find a woman.
But hold on, you're going up in front of people, time out, to say marriage is bad because I had a bad experience.
No, but it's true statistically. We can look at the data. Is it wrong to say that, hey, 70% of divorces are initiated by women when the data says that?
Can I ask you a
Facts
provocative question?
Don't care about your feelings, right?
Can I ask you a provocative question? Did you do anything that led to your divorce?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it wasn't all the woman's fault.
No, but I'm saying, but here's the thing. 70% of the divorces are initiated by them. And yes,
Well,
this is an anecdotal situation. Like,
See, I
my
reject the
personal-
premise. I
You're-
reject
no,
the premise. I think that we as men must lead. Women might initiate
Okay.
it, but we as men don't take the directive to have peace
All
in the
right.
home.
Well-
I reject
well,
the
everyone
premise.
here
Hold on.
circle jerks
Hold on.
Charlie Kirk.
Time out.
Okay, go on.
Let me finish.
All right,
I
go
reject
on.
the premise. Yes, women might initiate the divorce proceeding,
of
but
course.
we are the one as men that ignore the subterranean threat and the brush fire that is growing. We're the ones that should take the family back to church, that go seek counseling if necessary.
And I don't
it's not,
disagree with it.
It's not good enough just to say like, hey, oh, it's women that initiate it. It's men who don't act, I think, confidently and strong enough in most cases to actually make sure that marriage is a safe haven to have children in a wholly protected place.
And I think that makes sense. And let me say this. Okay, let's find some common ground. So we know that the system is flawed, right? So here's the thing that's flawed about it. When the federal government incentivizes the state, at the state level, for child support enforcement programs, and we have a system where the state makes a bunch of money off of this, it's pretty parasitic because there's no such thing as a 50-50 custody in Wyoming, even if you get along with the parent. So when the state is actively involved with family matters and women are getting paid off from this, and this is not false, we have a toxic system that probably needs to be revised. Do you not disagree with that? Because we can't continue on
I
this
think we
path.
should revise. I do believe in more men's rights in
Yeah.
custody. I think that's fine. But let's take a step back though, and I think it's very important, is that men are objectively better when they are married and they don't stay as grown infant boys watching porn and playing video games all day long.
And I don't disagree with that.
Good, so we agree.
I
So
agree.
here's my argument. Despite the problems of the legal system, of which your argument has some merit,
Yeah.
we still should get married because it is the right thing to do, despite the technical problems, despite the difficulties. In fact, it's us men, to find a woman that we love and to protect that marriage and hope that it never goes in the direction of divorce. And
That's
just
30% though. That's 30% chance
well,
that
again,
it succeeds.
I don't. Again, no, about half marriages continue. It's not 30%.
No,
So-
because if 70, no, hold on a second. Because look at this. Why do we have such a society that is so hyper-focused on we need to have a bunch of children and get married, but we have this system in place, and I'm talking about the federal government, that incentivizes single parenthood. And we can look at most of these inmates in jail come from fatherless homes. Maybe we should get rid of the state involved in personal family matters.
So you're conflating. You know why? The fatherless homes you're talking about
Yes.
are people that never got married in the first place most of the time. They're men
Yes,
that
that's true.
They're men that impregnate women and flee the women that they were with. But understand this, that every generation has had troubles.
Yeah.
Our duty as men is to overcome obstacles, not whine about them and not complain about them. So yes, there is a problem here, but I would reject the premise. Every young man should say, I'm not gonna be a boy and I'm gonna go do the hard thing and get married and have children. And I would just push back against some of your narrative where you're telling like, well, men, it might not be good, it might not be this. Yes, life has lots of things that could throw at you, but marriage is a holy, holy institution that we should aim for. And the fact that marriage is slipping in the West is one of the great damaging indicators as to why our country is falling apart.
Should we revise it? Should we revise
Yes,
it?
I think we should revise some of the laws. I
okay.
agree. But the
Okay.
answer is not to not get married or run away from that institution. It's tough. Okay, still, go get married and have kids. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hello, my name is Kit. So I am a generally conservative libertarian. However, one thing I've noticed about the conservative movement over the past couple of years is almost an overfixation on the left's obsession with identity politics. And I think what it seems like it's turning into is that we're becoming so obsessed with getting rid of identity politics that it is effectively becoming our identity politics, where it seems like it can be a tool that's used to hide bad policy and ignore good policy that needs to be implemented. And I just wondered, do you think that this overfixation on getting rid of identity politics could eventually hurt the conservative movement?
Can I ask you to give an example? Is that okay?
Well, as an example, for your entire introduction here, the majority of it was talking about, getting rid of DEI. And don't get me wrong, DEI isn't a good thing. I'm glad to have it gone.
Well, no, so identity politics, just so we're clear, is Your political affiliation is your skin color. Getting rid of things that believe that your political affiliation is your skin color is not identity politics. And it's not our identity. We're simply just fixing an error. Does that make sense?
Yes, but the overfixation on those things, because we do definitely have genuine issues that I hear almost nothing about from either side, actually. Okay. Or there are things that I hear from the left, but they don't actually do anything about because the goal is to not
Yeah,
actually
fair
fix the
enough.
issues.
We would just say, though, that those 4 examples I gave, CRT, DEI, affirmative action, disparate impact, these are incredibly important. And what I'm doing is celebrating like a glorious achievement. And I only have so much time to talk here. And we should get rid of bad things, and we should celebrate it when we get rid of bad things.
Right, but the focus with getting rid of bad things, I mean, don't you think that the focus of getting rid of bad things is to then talk about what new things we can move on to?
Sure, yeah, I mean, I think President Trump is doing that as well. But, I mean, have you seen an emphasis on the disparate impact stuff? Probably not. I mean, this is a monumental step forward for the country because we're getting rid of this monstrosity. And getting rid of DEI means we're bringing back merit. That means more innovation. That means more entrepreneurs. That means more risk-taking, more invention. And so I think they actually play in together. Thank you. I got to get to the next question. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Madison. I'm a student at the University of Wyoming currently. Next semester I'll be taking a step away from college specifically, and I'll be getting my license in vet technician work. But go UW. I do have a question for you. I grew up in a conservative household, thank God. I'm I'm very glad to be a conservative in this day. And I have recently kind of had some conflicting feelings, and I think that they kind of, in terms of like view, differ from what your view is. And I guess I'm really wanting to kind of get to a solid middle ground here and find some balance in my opinion. I am kind of rising to the mindset of being an advocate for Hispanics. Specifically, if I can give you an example, so recently, I think within the last year, she lives in a different state, but if I can share this in confidence, I guess, I mean, without great detail, she is an illegal alien, and this was kind of a shock to me being a conservative and her asking me what my viewpoints are and compared to hers, and she's become like one of my best friends, and I love her dearly, and I've seen her grow within the last year, working in this country, providing a lot to this country, and helping America become excellent. She's currently a student in a university, and a lot with the recent election, which I'm proud of who I voted for, but she's not necessarily the same viewpoint. And I guess like my biggest conflict here is, what would you like to see going forward for the Hispanic community, especially young women and men and who are in their 20s, who are illegal, being able to have the same equal opportunity in this country as I do? Because that's my conflict, you know?
Yeah, so thank you. Great question. I'm going to gently correct some stuff.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's okay. Not all Hispanics are illegal. In fact, there's a lot of Hispanics that are here legally. So I know you said Hispanics twice. I don't want to loop the idea that every Hispanic is here that broke into the country illegally. Secondly,
no,
I know, and that not all illegals are Hispanic. There's a lot of other countries that people that break those laws. I don't know enough about the situation here, but here's just the general rule that if you break our law, there must be a penalty, period. And so if you are here and you came into the country illegally, I don't know the circumstances. If they were carried as a kid, it's a little bit more complicated.
She was, when she was 2.
Yeah. Well, so then her parents are the ones that should go back to wherever she came from with her.
Okay.
Because her parents made that mistake with her. I'm an incredibly non-negotiating hawk when it comes to immigration. Because if you come here without permission, if you come here without warrant, then we don't have an immigration system. We basically just have a bum rush on the southern border. It could be very hard for you because you know this person and you like this person.
Right.
At the same time, we're the only country in the world that says, you know what, I understand that you're not supposed to be here and that you haven't been here for the right reason, and we're just going to allow you to stay here. That's how we've gotten to the place where we have 20 million people illegally in our country. And so, and I just, just to be clear, her parents are the ones that basically cut in line and then used her kind of as a way to get into the country. And I don't love the idea of emotional manipulation. I'm basically a blind justice guy. If you're not here legally, we will humanely return you to your country of origin. And so you might not agree or like that, but we have to be a nation of laws. We're not going to be just a nation of feelings.
Right. No, yeah, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, Charlie. I go to a decently sized trade school here in town called Wyotech.
Good for you. God bless you.
I know there's quite a few of us here, so I just had a quick question. What's your advice for the blue-collar community?
Man, first of all, God bless you. My message to those that work with your hands. Not only do you matter, but we would not have a country without those of you that work in the invisible jobs behind the scenes. Four things. Build skills, build businesses, build wealth, build character, build a family. 5 things. Do those 5 things. And you in a blue-collar job, you have a very unique blessing. And I find this. You know what your blessing is? You can, what I call layer. Layering is where you do one thing and you can add another productive thing on top of it. So what can I ask you, what is your proficiency? What are you good at?
I'm in collision and refinishing.
Great. So I imagine, thank you by the way, collision and refinishing, you're going to have a job for a long time, just so we're clear. Especially with Wyoming winters, right? So while you're doing that work, I imagine you could listen to a podcast, right? So my advice to blue-collar America is you could become incredibly wise and deep and proficient while you're making an income. A lot of people that are sitting in meetings all day long that work in the laptop class, not the muscular class, they don't have the ability to do that. So what I'm getting at is in the time that you're working with your hands, you're able to also train and learn and dive deep into ideas. That's why I believe the average plumber in this country has more wisdom than the average college professor in this country, because they are consuming such necessary information. And then finally, never let anybody talk down to you or what you're doing just because you did not go to college. Prove them wrong, start a business, build a lot of wealth. Not only is it critically important, but we have a colossal shortage in this country of people that know how to do things, and when you can do things, you are valuable, and therefore you are powerful. So God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all you've done for this generation.
Just a reminder, disagreements will work you through the line. Yeah.
Hi, Charlie. My name's Allie Edwards, and I'm a student here at the University of Wyoming, and I'm studying rangeland ecology and watershed management. I guess my question is, I'm concerned about the reduction of staff in public land agencies like BLM and Forest Service. Given how crucial public lands are to Wyoming's economy, why are these cuts happening, and how do you recommend that we manage these lands effectively with fewer resources? Given that in Wyoming especially, we are going to feel this on the fire lines this summer.
Yeah, again, I don't know enough about it. Do you think there's any waste in these departments? That'd be my first question.
Definitely. So I always like to joke, I had a boss who never showed up to work.
So maybe that's who Elon fired.
Yep, he didn't. He fired me.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry that you got fired.
Well,
but...
no, I mean, I'm a seasonal employee, but the hiring freeze, they could not hire interns this summer. But, I had some friends that worked the Forest Service as well who lost their jobs, and they were participating in their jobs every day.
Yeah, so again, you isolated one thing of waste. I wish they would have cut that, not you. You seem very sweet. I don't know nearly enough about that, but yeah, look, the intent. Let me go to the broad intent, and I think a lot of that will get worked through. Senator Barrasso and Senator Lemus, I'm sure, are working through all that. Is this: we are a nation careening towards bankruptcy. We are going to be borrowing trillions of dollars that we do not have. We're $35 trillion in debt. You have to make tough cuts when that happens. And I also think when you make a mistake and you cut things that you shouldn't, you should fix that mistake, of which I think is happening in certain areas. But I would prefer an administration that moves fast to cut spending than never moves at all to cut spending, because we have a massive problem with our debt and deficit in this country. So I hope you'll be back on the fire lines this summer.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you. Great question.
Hello, Charlie. My name is also Charlie, so good name. I'm a member, I'm actually an editor at the student newspaper here, the Branding Iron. And I was just wondering, sort of a politically neutral question, I guess. Well, two-parter. First of all, I think I already know the answer to this, but do you think that there's a bias in American media today? And secondly, as a member,
Yes.
I kind of figured, but secondly, as a member of the press, you know, I want to be a journalist. What can I be doing to combat that in your view?
So the first part of bias is story selection bias, which is the stories they don't cover. So my first piece of advice is it's not even the story composition itself, which is of course bad, but it's, are you covering the stories that might make one side look bad or actually might elevate another side? So story selection bias is big. Finally, it's also the facts that they emphasize or they will not emphasize. So my other piece of advice to you is that when you are writing the story, if you're describing, for example, Charlie Kirk, the liberal media would say, like, white supremacist Charlie Kirk. That doesn't have journalist intent, right? That's just complete BS, garbage, rubbish. There's nothing behind it. So try to refrain from like very incendiary descriptions or adjectives, and try to and I'm sure they teach this as you're a journalist, right? Be incredibly factual in the way that you can write it. In fact, your job should be, this is your goal, the reader should never know your politics. If the reader does not know how you vote, you're an honest journalist. If the reader is left in mystery about your reporting, you're a good journalist.
Fair enough. That's always been my goal. Thank you.
God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
Hello. I'm mainly here because my dad said you could debate me better than he could. But I just wanted to ask, are you a dry beater or a lotion beater?
Thank you. You waited in line for that. It's really great. Thank you. In fact, I'm happily married with 2 kids. You look unmarried, my friend.
Oh, you have to hold it? Okay.
To the previous question, I want it that young men are not so confused and quite honestly demented that they have a woman in their life and that keeps them in check from acting so outrageously like that in public. Yes, next question.
Welcome to the University of Wyoming.
Good evening, Charlie. My name is Remington Coltis, and I had the pleasure of spending the day with your wonderful Turning Point USA chapter.
Your name's Remington. That's
Yes,
the most
sir.
Wyoming name I've ever heard in history.
My old man was a Marine.
Thank you for his service.
Oh,
And by the way, we have
I
a
was
family
Marine
from
as
the Abbey Gate. I think they're here somewhere. God bless you guys. Terrible situation. Lost their life. Their loved one lost their life at Abbey Gate in Kabul, Afghanistan. Never should have happened under Joe Biden. So thank you for being here, guys. God bless you, and thank you for his service. Thank you. Please.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for saying that, Charlie. That means so much. The reason I came here today is because I wrote a book for my very young infant son that I intend to give to him when he is a teenager. I was raised without a father, and many of us were. And in this book, I detail a lot of the things that a child should know, should learn from his father. And I've left a copy of that with your wonderful Turning Point USA chapter. I was hoping you would do me the honor of reading it before I finalize it.
Thank you. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll just say one thing. The fact you were raised without a father, you now have unique opportunity to give the blessing that you never had, which I think will heal a lot of the regret or sorrow, frustration that you might have been raised with. And that's my advice to young men all the time that were raised without fathers, that don't walk around being bitter. Look and aim yourself to be the father that you wish you would have had. And that is the most beautiful way to kind of complete the circle and make the world a profoundly better place. So God bless you, man. Thank you so much.
God bless you.